What happens when the most brilliant design in a billionaire, his company isn't created by an engineer, but by the dishwasher everyone ignored? This is the story of Maria Lopez, who went from cleaning floors to leading innovation and breaking barriers no one thought she could. Stick around to hear how she stunned a room full of executives and changed the future of an entire industry. If you believe in stories about unexpected heroes and dreams that refuse to die, hit that subscribe button now because we have many more inspiring journeys coming your way. The sunlight streamed through the towering glass walls of Echelon, Enterprise's 50th floor, conference room, reflecting off the polished marble floors and chrome fixtures while the city's pulse hummed faintly below. But inside, an uneasy silence had settled over the gathered executives. The room was packed with senior managers and engineers, their faces tense as they stared at the digital blueprint, projected on the large screen, a design for a revolutionary, eco-friendly kitchen appliance, promising to reshape the industry with smart water recycling and AI-driven cleaning cycles that drastically cut water and energy consumption without compromising performance. Just as whispers of doubt began to spread about the origin of such an innovative design, the door swung open and Maxwell Crane, the billionaire entrepreneur and newly appointed chairman, strode in, his presence commanding immediate attention. Without a word, he laid a slim, unmarked folder on the conference table and opened it to reveal the elegant, flawless blueprint. Then with a cold, commanding voice that brooked no argument, he asked, "Who designed this?" The question hung heavy in the air. No one moved. No one dared answer. The prototype was too perfect, too revolutionary to be a collaborative team effort, and the room's occupants exchanged anxious glances but remained silent. Suddenly a faint sound, a broom scraping softly against the floor, caught everyone's attention, and all eyes turned toward the back of the room where Maria Lopez stood quietly in her blue, janitorial uniform, her hands still damp from cleaning. She hesitated, then slowly stepped forward, her voice steady but soft as she said, "I designed it." The room fell into stunned silence. A few gasps echoed and quickly faded as disbelief and shock took hold. Maxwell raised a skeptical eyebrow but gestured for her to come closer. Maria began to tell her story, how after losing her family's home in the recession, she took the dishwasher job at Echelon to survive, but never stopped dreaming or learning. With no formal engineering education or credentials, she spent countless nights alone in the basement workshop, surrounded by discarded parts and old machines, teaching herself by repairing broken appliances and sketching designs on scraps of paper. She confessed she'd long been invisible to the company, regarded only as the dishwasher, never as someone who could contribute ideas. She told the room how the blueprint was years in the making, a secret labor of love born from frustration and hope. One skeptical executive asked why she hadn't spoken up before, and she answered honestly, "Because I wasn't heard. I was just the dishwasher." Her words hung heavy in the air as Maxwell studied the blueprint again, pointing to the sophisticated integration of water sensors and machine learning algorithms. "This," he said, "is not common knowledge, it's pure ingenuity." Maria smiled faintly and added that she learned everything by watching, listening, and figuring out solutions through hands-on experience. The executives exchanged uneasy glances, realizing how deeply they had underestimated her. Maxwell folded his arms and declared firmly, "Maria, starting tomorrow you're part of the design team." Maria blinked in surprise but held her composure, as murmurs of disbelief and awe rippled through the room. Maxwell cut off any objections, asserting that talent must be recognized wherever it is found, even in the most unexpected places. As Maria took the seat at the conference table that marked her new role, not as an invisible dishwasher but as a vital innovator, the atmosphere in the room shifted palpably. The dishwasher had spoken and now everyone was finally listening. The next morning, Maria arrived early, not in her usual janitor's uniform, but dressed simply in jeans and a crisp shirt, clutching a worn notebook filled with sketches, notes, and calculations accumulated over years of quiet work. She stepped into the design department, a world previously closed to her, with a mixture of determination and humility, feeling every pair of eyes on her as whispers followed her footsteps like shadows. Some engineers offered skeptical glances, others barely concealed smirks, doubting whether a dishwasher could truly contribute to their high-tech projects. But Maria remained focused, ready to prove that innovation transcended titles and backgrounds. Her first challenge was the upcoming prototype review for the eco-friendly dishwasher, where the pressure to impress was immense. She quickly found allies in a few junior designers who admired her raw insight and tenacity, and together they refined the design, improving sensor accuracy and optimizing energy usage with solutions Maria had developed in her basement nights. However, resistance from senior staff was palpable. Some viewed her as a threat to their authority and dismissed her ideas outright, pushing back with bureaucratic delays and questioning her qualifications at every turn. Maria bore the hostility with quiet strength, knowing her greatest opponent was the culture that refused to see beyond her job title. Meanwhile, Maxwell Crane remained a steadfast supporter, publicly endorsing her contributions and insisting on her presence in strategic meetings, which gradually forced reluctant colleagues to take her seriously. As prototypes were built and tested, Maria's innovations consistently outperformed expectations, and news of her success began to spread beyond the company walls, attracting media attention and investor interest. Yet amid the growing acclaim, Maria never forgot her roots. She continued to mentor others like herself, people whose talents were hidden by circumstance. Launching an internal program, dubbed Project Spark, to nurture unconventional innovators within the company. Tensions peaked during a critical board meeting when a senior executive tried to sabotage the launch of Maria's redesigned dishwasher, claiming the technology was unproven and too risky. But Maxwell confronted the dissenters head-on, declaring that fear of change was the greatest risk of all and that Maria's vision represented the company's future. The board voted unanimously to back the project, marking a decisive victory for Maria and her allies. On launch day, the new dishwasher was unveiled to enthusiastic acclaim, praised for its cutting-edge sustainability and smart design that genuinely responded to user needs. Maria stood quietly backstage, watching the crowd's reaction with a mix of pride and quiet satisfaction. She thought about the long journey from invisible dishwasher to celebrated innovator and the walls she had broken down, not just for herself, but for countless others. The company's culture began to shift as more voices, previously unheard, were invited into conversations and decision-making, transforming Echelon Enterprises into a beacon of inclusive innovation. Reflecting on her path, Maria realized that her true victory wasn't just the blueprint or the promotion. It was proving that brilliance can come from the most unexpected places when given a chance. The dishwasher who once swept floors was now shaping futures, rewriting what it meant to belong. And as she prepared for her next project, she smiled softly, knowing that the greatest designs are those built on resilience, courage, and the refusal to be invisible any longer.